Hey, beautifuls. I just want to jump on here in response to some of the questions that I am getting about being in the vibe. So, this is going to be really short and sweet, and it's going to come from a beautiful message, a beautiful audio message that I received from a client this morning. And it was just music to my ears. I did a little happy dance, and so was she, of course. Um, but it was just this beautiful reminder about staying that path and in the present moment, like in this moment, right now, right here, choosing who you are, like who you're going to be, not going to be down the track, but going to be in this moment, and choosing that energy and the beliefs and the feelings, and just allowing that and making that safe for you and making that just really normal for you. Like, what else would you be? Like, it wouldn't make any sense to be anybody else. And the interesting thing is, this beautiful client has worked with me on and off, for a couple of years. They had just completed Worthy. So Worthy finished maybe, as you guys know, like about 10 days ago, and now available as a self-study program. And they were doing the practices, the daily transmissions that were coming through. This beautiful person, as I know, lots of others were doing it too, but just the feedback from this person. And she sent me an audio this morning, and the audio just said, I actually really have just realized that I really am worthy. And she said, I know that was the basis of the program. And she said, I get that, but it's just finally clicked, like the practice and the art. And it's just finally clicked. And she just said, I did identity with you at the very start of the year, another one of my self-study programs. I did identity with you at the start of the year, and that shifted a whole heap of things for me too. And it's continuously shifted things for me throughout this year. And then, you know, Worthy called me, I've jumped into that, and it's just sort of cemented that next level for me. And that's fantastic and that's great. But really, what I want to call out inside this is, first, it seems so if she reflected on that and someone said to her, you're just so confident and you're so, you're achieving things, but you don't have to achieve things. Like, you're not doing it because you have to, you're doing it because you want to and you get to. And you just seem to be really in flow and really happy and really backing yourself and really believing yourself, like all the things that a worthy person would choose, right? Please notice that I said choose there. And they they would say, like, if someone said to her, how did you get there? How did you get there? What type of things did you do? And she could say certain things that she would do. So she could see where she was right now and reflect back on the certain things that she was doing. And so she could talk about action she took. So she could say, I was journaling, and I was meditating, and I was doing this program, and I was, then taking action on this and that. And I was just, she could really break it down. And someone could say, like, I want to buy this program off you. I'm going to spend $20,000 to buy it off you, or whatever the number is, like something that you actually want to sell it for, basically, not like $2 or something. I was trying to put a bit of emphasis behind it. So they want to purchase it off you. So you're thinking, okay, well, let me really reflect back on the steps that I took to get there. And you can articulate those steps now that you're there. But what the piece that's missing, and maybe they articulated it, but I'm just going to assume they don't, because a lot of people don't inside this stuff. Not everyone, but a lot of people don't. What they don't realize is they chose to be that person. They chose to be that person. Therefore, the actions that they took, even the journaling, you can journal and you could be just writing words on a page, or just meditating and be thinking of something else. And you can just be walking around worrying about all the things that are going to go wrong, and worrying about whether you're ever going to make it, and trying to get somewhere. You can immerse yourself in all of those things and in that energy, and you can be looking like you're playing the part and doing the things that other people did to get there, but you're not actually in the vibe of it. Like, you're not actually choosing as though you're there. You're not actually being the person. You're acting like the person. You're not being the person, though. You're hoping to be the person, and you're trying to be the person. And so my point is that at some point in time, you don't choose it in the same way. It's not a habit that you need to, like, as in, for her, in her example, worthiness, worthiness because she exists, and then allowing herself from that whole and completeness, like wholeness and completeness now, to take action. And it doesn't matter if you receive things. It doesn't matter if you don't or do receive things, because you're already whole and complete. You just start to realize this world is your oyster. There's so many things available to you, and you get to do that stuff, not you have to do that stuff to make you worthy, to make you whole, to make you validated, or whatever else is popping up for you. So, and it's all popping up for all of us. It's the active choice. And at some point in time, you don't have to choose that as much. Like, of course you'll realize that, and of course if you're connected into you, you're being that person, so you would recognize that that's just natural and normal, and I suppose it becomes more fluent and easy, if I can describe it that way. But at some point in time, you had to actively choose that. You had to actively be the person without necessarily seeing the results of that on the outside. But you were the vibe of the person. You're being the person. And so at some point in time, it clicks. And what I want to remind you of is not to wait for that moment for it to click. Like, be there right now, but realize at some point in time down the track, it pays off. Because a lot of the time people, keep trying this stuff and trying this stuff, trying being the key word there. And I'm going to make this work, and I'm going to work towards this. And what should I do? And what should I do? And what should I do? And they forget. So I'm going to journal. I can journal. And they forget to actually connect into what it is that they're doing. They forget to actually feel like they're there. They forget that discipline, which is key. I mean, all of this is you being the vibe. And so there's that piece that's missing for people. And so I want to call that out now with all the other content that's inside here about being the vibe, being the energy, choosing to be the person. It's just always being there now. And I really want to call this out because, as I said, it's missing. It's missing in a really big way. And you're not going to get that validation or the feelings that the outcome's going to give you. And it's always about the feelings deep down that the outcome's going to give you, unless you're already it now. It's so much hard work. Like, and I'm not scared of hard work. There's going to be things to change to be the vibe, as in you see this and you're going to need to show up. Fear still going to show up, and all of those things are still going to show up because it's natural and normal. But are you going to decide to let it take the driver's seat? Are you going to decide that it just keeps on, I don't know, you ignore it, but it's still there. And therefore you're avoiding things that you actually know are true for you. You actually know would complete that person. Maybe not complete that person is the right word, right phrase, but give you that wholeness and that safety and the results, right? It's you've got to realize that you become that in the moment. You become that version of you in the moment. You don't become that version of you because you're doing those things. It's the energy in which you're doing them, the vision in which you're choosing them. And like an example just came to mind. I can give you a million examples, but it's a little bit like, actually, I'm not even, you know what, if I start talking about this, it's going to take over the other video that I just did inside the portal. So you can watch that one about the vibe and certain habits that I'm going to ask you to do and the energy in which you're doing it from. But really what I want you to realize, what I want you to remember is be there now. Like whenever you're noticing that maybe you're panicked or you're fretting or you're in fear, notice that that's okay. You're not trying to get rid of it. It's normal. I'm okay. I'm allowed to feel these things, but it doesn't stop me from being who I want to be. Like that's just my brain popping up going, abort mission because this is unsafe and this is new and this is unnatural for the way that my wiring has been. Really let yourself actually start to choose anyway, like be that vibe anyway. And we've all got it going on. We've all got the fear. We've all got the doubts. We've all got the uncertainty. Are you going to let it run the show? So let me just recap. There's a lot inside this, even though it's really basic, there's a lot inside this. I just want you to remember that at some point in time, it just becomes normal. It just becomes, it's like it's like muscle memory. Let's call it that. It's like muscle memory. But in order to get to that muscle memory, you're not trying to work towards something. You're just realizing and you're giving yourself permission in this moment now that you just get to choose to be that. You get to choose to be that person, be that energy. You're not driven on willpower alone. Willpower is beautiful. But if you're driving things on willpower alone, at some point in time, if you don't sleep, or if you, I don't know, the kids are sick or something goes wrong, you are going to, I can't be bothered today, right? As opposed to being the person who says, I can't be bothered today, but that's who I am. So I get up and I show up anyway, right? I want you to be the vibe of that, despite all the other things that are going on, or what's someone going to say, or what's someone going to think. Well, what am I going to say? And what am I going to think if I don't show up for this today? And that's what's going to matter the most. So again, be the vibe now, be that person, choose that energy. Don't let all the other stuff, run the show for you, because it's as real as you make it, right? It feels real, but it's as real as you make it. And at one point in time, you do look back and you can see the differences, you can see the changes, in yourself, in your life, in reality. And you can go through all the steps that you did to get there, all the actions that you took. But what I really want you to think about, how am I taking these actions? Am I taking these actions because I hope to get there? I hope it's going to validate me. I hope one day someone's going to see me. Or am I doing it because I see me? Am I doing it because I give a shit about me? Am I doing it because I validate me? There's a massive big difference. So leave you with that. You can jump into the next video and just keep being you and choosing you. Speak to you later.